Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I am currently recording this video at 1:51 in the morning on a Sunday night. My son, most of my animals, I believe, maybe all of them, and my son and my wife, everybody in the house is basically asleep right now, and I am up late, very, very late, enjoying the last day of my little over a week long vacation. I do have tomorrow off from work and I return back to work on Tuesday. So I'm going to do this tonight because my objective for tomorrow, September 29th, is a giant upload day. I have been working on a ton of different videos throughout this week, a mix of everything. So I'm going to try to get as many things uploaded tomorrow as possible. There could be approximately about 20 new videos being available on my channel tomorrow. So that is definitely crazy for sure. But I didn't think I was going to be able to do this one tonight, but I drank some Pepsi. I have the energy. So I'm going to do it. I am going to review SmackDown right now. Get this is probably going to be the first video I upload in the morning. And I'll also, before I go to bed tonight, just post what I all intend on trying to get uploaded to the channel tomorrow. So we're going to roll in, though, and talk about SmackDown. What is going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993. Or should I say now, I've been trying to say his name, and he appears. This is the Club of the Man 1993. And this is my review of this past Friday's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. It is the September 25th, 26th, 2025 episode of SmackDown, and took place at the Kia Center in Orlando, Florida. And I believe that was originally the Amway Center, but it's been changed now to the Kia Center. Overall, wasn't too bad of a show. Couple little down moments, like they're doing these vignettes right now for Solo Sikoa and his group, and until I see any results with Solo Sikoa, I don't give a crap anymore about Solo Sikoa. And then that main event, although I did enjoy seeing Stephanie Vaquer on the show, and they teased the possible 3 different matches we could be getting at Crown Jewel, I gotta be honest, that main event was not good. It was definitely not all 3 of those women's best performances, but also that really horrible botch at the end. That was, I guess, kind of the referee's fault. I don't know if Jade Cargill getting busted open threw off the match as well, but yeah, let's just say whenever I do get to doing, because it's going to happen regardless if I finish the series this year or next year, obviously I'll be continuing on with the best and worst matches from 2025. That main event, you'll probably see that probably in my top 5, maybe, are my worst matches of all of the year, for sure. So I will, you'll probably be hearing me talking about that, unfortunately, in another video. But other than that, those 3 things, if it wasn't for those 3 things, this wasn't too bad an episode of SmackDown. some stuff was kind of, the good standard, whatever. And then there was some stuff like that US Open Challenge with Sami Zayn and Javon Evans from NXT. I'm not going to lie. This Sami Zayn US title run is growing on me. I didn't like it at first because, like I said, I still think Sami Zayn is at his best, as a babyface at least, when he is telling an underdog story. Now, maybe, him being US champion is getting him some wins, and maybe it's more so like, if they are still going to stick with Sami Zayn winning the Royal Rumble, as I feel like they've been teasing to win the Rumble in Saudi Arabia, then maybe it's a thing where, like, this is just to get him some wins to fuel him up, and then when he wins the Rumble, it's like, okay, you've mastered the mid-cards, can you master the main event scene? Maybe they could go with that story, or just something, totally different as far as him generating, the wins. But I do think this US Open Challenge, he's definitely putting on some of the best matches of the year, by far. And knock on wood, not that I've noticed, but he hasn't gotten booed since that segment in Chicago with him and John Cena. I was a little worried when he got booed with that segment. That's the only one I believe that has happened. So again, at first I wasn't a fan of it, but it's kind of growing on me now, especially after his match he had with Javon, which I thought was awesome. And it did show for sure again that Javon Evans is definitely a future star. He's like, what, 21 years old? He's only like that young for sure, and he is as good as he is. Everybody likes to just base him off of, a starting point as to when NXT first moved to the CW last year, and he botched that RKO spot with Randy Orton. But again, it's on NXT. That's okay. I know, their NXT's not the same as it used to be. It's really emphasized as developmental on live television. But again, that is a place where you learn and become better. And honestly, having live TV experience is going to help there as well. But again, he is definitely going to be a huge star someday. And I still thought his match, him and Sami having that match they had, was definitely the best thing of this show. Everything else, besides, of course, those two things I, put down, again, the stuff with Solo and then the main event, everything else was fine. So, a B- show from SmackDown for me this week. And that's all. Just kidding. Just kidding. We're going to roll in, though, and talk about the show right now. We started off, though, with Cody Rhodes. I'm sorry, first it was Paul Heyman who came out. Does usual shtick, introduces himself, says he's got a lot to talk about, and at first he says he's going to take over the entire 2 hours of the show. But then he says, nah, I'm not going to do that. But instead, he's also not going to choose a topic. He wants to ask Orlando, what do they want to talk about? Taking a jab at Cody Rhodes. And then, of course, he first asked if they want to talk about Seth Rollins. The crowd starts chanting OTC, but then Heyman says he'd love to talk about the Tribal Chief, but it's disrespectful because of how he hurt him, and then Bronson Reed got him stretchered out in Paris. So how about the dog that's going to main event WrestleMania for 5 to 10 years, Braun Breaker, which I'm pretty sure is foreshadowing. Not next year, but maybe the following year, the WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia in 2027. Maybe that's when Braun main events WrestleMania for the first time. Maybe we'll see. I don't think it's going to be quite yet next year. I think they're going to have him with the Vision a little bit longer, but I would say by WrestleMania 43, don't be surprised if Braun Breaker's in that main event. Although that's still probably where they're going to likely do Roman Reigns and The Rock. I still hate the idea of not doing it until then. At this point, I'd say just don't even do the match. That's serious. At this point, there's no use in doing Roman Reigns and The Rock. The Rock's lost so much weight for his current role. And in a couple of years, The Rock's going to be like, 55? Who knows if he's going to be able to still wrestle like he did at WrestleMania 40. Because I thought he looked great at WrestleMania 40. But again, he ain't getting any younger. So, I don't know. I'm just starting to think that it's a little too late for that match. And again, because of how he's done, some questionable things like on screen, that I'm just like, why is Rock doing this? I'm kind of sour on him just a wee bit, so Rock's got to gain my confidence back. But anyway, so he hypes all that out, and then he also mentions talking about the conspiracies and rumors regarding Brock Lesnar, referring to their recent interactions. And when Heyman introduced Brock at Wrestlepalooza. But before he can get further than that, Cody Rhodes comes out. And first he asks if we got a chance to see the Wrestlepalooza recap. He made a mistake calling Mr. Heyman a mistake last week. And he doesn't think he's a goon. He's one of the smartest men he knows. And he loves to disrupt and stir it up. So he's going to ask him the question, what's going on with Brock Lesnar? He asks the truck to throw up a still of Heyman introducing Lesnar at Wrestlepalooza. He says he knows Brock. He doesn't know him as well as Paul does. But it looks like the face of somebody just here for that doesn't look like a face for someone here for a one-night stand. Now he wants to know, is he going to be talking to tonight to the Oracle, the Wise Man, or the Advocate? Heyman replies immediately and says, you're talking to the GOAT. And as the greatest of all time, he respects the fact that Cody is confronting him about Brock, because everybody knows that when Brock is here, everyone is in danger. But the good news for Cody is that Brock isn't here tonight. Please don't give us Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar again. Please don't. And also don't give Brock Lesnar a title match. Or a title. Please don't. What makes us think that he's not in danger currently? And that's when Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed come out. And he says he keeps hearing how they're the future of this industry. And so dangerous, he knows Heyman tells them both they're WrestleMania main eventers waiting to happen. But Cody would have killed to be a Heyman guy. But they gave him some advice. He grew up the son of a booker. You can always tell why they're doing what they're doing. But who is Paul Heyman truly loyal to? Which apparently he doesn't believe is them. And of course, Braun Breaker gets angry and tears off his shirt. And Cody takes off his blue blazer and throws it on commentary to Booker T, who is filling in for Cody Rhodes to obviously continue to sell, Corey being attacked by Brock Lesnar last week. And he squares up for a fight and admits it's probably not a good decision, but he throws the first punch. And he's being down 2-on-1 until Randy Orton made the save. And Orton clears them all out of the ring. So surprisingly, that didn't lead to a tag match. Maybe they're going to do that another time. I don't know. Maybe next week. Who knows? I don't know. A little strange ending there. But a very standard-like promo. But it kept some things alive. Again, what is going on with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman? I wonder if this is going to lead to the War Games match. And Brock Lesnar teams up with the Vision. And maybe you throw in Drew McIntyre as well for a fifth member or something like that. I'm curious to see what happens with that. Honestly, if they want it, I don't think he would pin him to win the match. I still think if they would do this, I would want the Vision to win the War Games match. But if not, if they want to use the War Games match for John Cena to get his comeuppance on Brock Lesnar or whatever. But, I don't know. I just don't know what else this could lead to. And also, I don't want to see Brock Lesnar get a championship match. Please do not. But, yeah, we'll see where this goes for sure. But yeah, just odd. Randy just helps him, and then we don't get anything out of it. I'm assuming maybe a tag match soon. We'll have to wait and see, though, because we all know Cody's taking on Seth Rollins for the Crown Jewel Championship at Crown Jewel in a few weeks, which I don't care about. Well, okay, the match will be good. And I respect that both Crown Jewel Championship matches actually are suitable and passable, I would say. Have a story to them, but it's just still the concept that I just don't care about. But anyways, we had that to start off the show. Street Profits are getting ready for their match against Melo Don't Miz. Obviously, it's two teams who have like some iffy like chemistry right now. But the Street Profits says coming up short just makes them hungrier. And they go at each other from time to time. But the goal remains the same. Too bad for the doubters. They still want the smoke. They had the match. And it was a good match. Surprisingly, though, they're already emphasizing the cracks on Melo Don't Miz. Because towards the end of the match, Carmelo Hayes went on a little bit of like a run. And he was setting up to do the nothing but net finisher. But then the Miz tags himself in, which seemed to bother Carmelo Hayes. And then the Street Profits, though, would eventually get the upper hand on the Miz. And you see Melo, as the pin is on Miz, like roll in, but then stop and let Miz eat the pin. So Melo Don't Miz do lose, which I was surprised. I thought we were going to have Melo Don't Miz win and give them a tag title shot. So I'm interested to see where this goes, because again, I did think they were going to give them the tag belts because Melo Don't Miz is actually really clicking. But I wonder if either one thing's going to happen. Either they're going to split them up now, which I'm not going to lie, feels a little too soon for them. Or maybe it's a thing now where instead of the Miz, tagging himself in and trying to, slip in the victory for himself, take all the credit, maybe they could do a thing where Carmelo Hayes now is finishing the matches, and Miz is trying to twist it some way to, still act like he's the bigger deal. So, interested to see where that goes still. Again, I was surprised again to still see this. They start to form the cracks now, but maybe that'll change, and we'll see what they do to follow up with this, because this has been a very well done story so far, I gotta say. So yeah, there was that. So Street Profits win. They're going to get another match with the Wyatt Six, who appeared outside the ring afterwards, kind of a stare down with them. We had Jade Cargill get interviewed backstage, saying she's sick and tired of Tiffany and Nia, and it's going to feel good when she leaves Women's Champion tonight. But then she walks past Stephanie Vaquer, who rolls up, and they have a little back and forth about the possibility of face a Crown Jewel. We got that basically Stephanie with all three of the opponents hyped up who could be the one to face Stephanie at Crown Jewel, which obviously I was definitely rooting for Tiffany for sure, but we then had a women's tag match with Giulia and Kiana James versus B-Fab and Mia Yim. I'm sorry, this women's U.S. title picture, I keep saying, is just so cold as ice, and it shouldn't be, because Giulia is a great choice to be that champion, but she's been a total afterthought with this women's U.S. title, and I just don't care about this. I really don't. I like all the women involved. I just don't care. It feels like they purposely make this the breather moment of the night. But the heels do get the victory. I don't know who's going to challenge Giulia next, or if they're going to give her a direction. I don't know. But speaking of women, we also had a backstage segment with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, and NXT's Sol Ruca and Zarya. Yes, there were some NXT people who appeared on the show tonight, probably because the hype up No Mercy, which was the next day. But anyways, they basically, Zarya says that they want a shot at the tag titles. Charlotte first tells her, you can't even wave your hand for a title shot anymore, and the two of them haven't earned it. To which, of course, Zarya, was not happy about that. Sol Ruca tries to make Zarya apologize for that comment, but then they all still bicker. But then Alexa says the two of them don't act like a tag team yet to them, so they need to prove themselves if they want to get a title shot. Which they basically said, we'll have it before you know it, and that's a thing. Okay, fine by me. Again, I definitely very interested in Sol Ruca. I've seen her wrestle. She is phenomenal. Haven't seen Zarya wrestle, but I know that the hype is high for her as well too. But yeah, that'd be something different to see happen. So we'll see where that goes. After this, we have a Drew McIntyre segment, which I thought was good. It kind of maintained him having a reason to still stay in the title picture. Because as we talked about for the Raw review, there was rumors that apparently the plan was for Drew to win the title at Wrestlepalooza. But of course, because the crown jewel and knowing that the Cody and Seth match would sell and not Seth and Drew, they had to switch it up. Whatever. But anyways, Drew gets on the microphone and he mentions how this same arena was where he made his return to WWE in 2017. It is also where he beat Randy Orton to win his second world title. And it also should have been where he walked out in front of a live crowd as champion, but he's not because of Cody Rhodes. And he says how he had Cody beat, but Cody was one step ahead of him, and complains about the slow count and this and that and whatnot, all that jazz. And he claims that Cody Rhodes is being corrupted. Again, the story just still is just like not there for this feud, but it's just something to try to have Drew maintain him being in the title picture. But Nick Aldis came out during this, and he told Drew that he's actually making a lot of sense, but they know this is wrestling. You win some and you lose some. And sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. And they've known each other for a long time, and he knows that Drew is better than making excuses. And he doesn't know where this all came from, because WWE's medical team checked him out. And apparently he doesn't need it, because Drew was wearing a boot on his foot. But Drew says he had his own medical team. And Nick says he's insane, saying he's not champion because of the corruption. And the referee's decision is final, and he can stay out here if he wants, but Aldis is done dealing with this. McIntyre then yells at him as he leaves, but as he goes to leave, we get the return of the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu, who I don't think we've seen since he was in that 6-man tag match, the Fallout show from SummerSlam, when he tagged with Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso. I was starting to get a little worried there because they had Jacob off TV for a while, but he's back, and he comes out and basically tells Drew to, stop complaining, and basically he's gonna, knock some sense back into him. They brawl, so I guess in the meantime, we're getting a feud with Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu. We'll see how that goes. I don't know how I feel about this. It's one of those things where it's like, is it the wrong time for these two to be colliding? Where Drew just lost a title match. Jacob Fatu is definitely getting upgraded to the main event scene. Could it be a thing like they set up for a match at Crown Jewel? Winner gets to fight Cody for the world title, and somehow it ends like a no contest, and we get a triple threat at like the next Saturday's main event? Maybe? I don't know. But we'll see where that one goes as well. That's definitely interesting. Then we had Stephanie Vaquer checking out Tiffany Stratton backstage and having their little hype promo. And I believe it was Rey Fenix. Well, the notes say it's Dragon Lee, but I thought it was Rey Fenix that Sam was chatting with backstage. He says, anybody could answer the open challenge tonight, and they're in Orlando, so that really means anybody. And he goes to make his entrance. And before we get to him, that open challenge match with Javon Evans from NXT, we had another vignette with Solo Sikoa cutting a promo. And this time he's talking about JC Mateo. Hypes up as a man who has won titles all over the world and is the strongest man in the world to him. And he checked Jacob Fatu and he stands by Solo's side. He loves him for that and his loyalty, and will be rewarded as long as he's part of the family. And then JC puts a hand on Solo's shoulder and tells him he loves him. Like I said, unless they're actually going to get out of first gear with Solo Sikoa, I just don't care anymore. So that was whatever to me. What was not whatever, again, was this match with Sami Zayn and Javon Evans. Again, as I said before in the opener, Javon Evans is still 21, 22 years old. He's still so young. And he's gotten so much better over the past year or so. I definitely think he will get a run with the NXT Championship before he comes to the main roster, but you can see probably the main roster, say, by either next year or beginning of 2027. I think you'll see him up on the main roster. But these NXT stars were here again because of No Mercy, but he had the match with Sami, and I thought, again, they worked excellently well together. And Javon Evans is just so over. Now, I noticed, though, that that Sami Zayn has been winning matches lately with the Blue Thunder Bomb. He's been doing the Haluva kick and then hitting the Blue Thunder Bomb after that. Interesting little change there, but he gets the win over Javon, and afterwards, he leads the crowd in applauding for Javon and has his arm raised, which was definitely a nice show of respect for him for sure. And again, he definitely had a breakout performance there against Sami Zayn. So like I said, I do look forward to seeing when Javon gets to the main roster again. Probably probably not until 2027, I want to say, but you never know. Heck, I'll say this. Give him an appearance in the Rumble. Give him an appearance in this year's Rumble. I think it's time we get him in the Rumble to get the experience. So that'd be cool to see as well. Afterwards, we do have Stephanie Vaquer chilling with Nia Jax, talking with her. And then we also get a backstage with Damian Priest and Kit Wilson. Kit was saying some weird gibberish in the wheelchair. And Damian basically knocks him back over the wheelchair. And Aleister Black comes out of nowhere, kicks him to the floor, saying they're going to be doing this until with only one of them is left standing. And he also wishes Damian a happy birthday. Apparently it was his birthday too. So I'm wondering, is this going to be a last man standing match at Crown Jewel? We'll see. I do think you should put these two on pay-per-view though. So a match at Crown Jewel, last man standing for stipulation, cool with me. All right, now we got our main event, which is this triple threat match for the women's championship. Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax, and Jade Cargill. So, like I said for the intro, this match, even take away the botch, this match was definitely not these three's best performance, if I'm being honest. It was definitely a little sloppy, but I think what's going to always stand out is that finish. And also the fact, too, it kind of hurt this match a little bit, too. This match was only, 20 minutes left in the show or something like that. And I think there were 2 commercial breaks in the match. So that was a little bit much. And then, like I said, towards the end of the match, Nia shoved Jade into the ring post. And she busted her face wide open. I was very surprised. Well, first off, I think, not surprised, I'm starting to get tired, I'm sorry, it's already almost 20 after 2 and I'm still doing this, but, I was surprised, not surprised, I wouldn't be surprised if Jay getting busted open threw off the match, because Nia seemed a little bit lost after this, because they have Tiffany do whatever she did on Nia, and she goes to pin her. Nia clearly did not kick out, but the referee still said it was a 2 count. And it even looked like Nia was still confused because she barked something at the referee. And then 4 seconds later, she does the whole kick out thing. Why she did that, I don't know. That just made the situation even more awkward. But it was way too noticeable of a botch or a miscue. Like I said, I personally think there was probably something else they were supposed to do. But again, Jay getting busted open didn't help with that. And shortly after that, Nia just ate the pin, and Tiffany Stratton pinned her to get the victory. And then afterwards, Stephanie Vaquer comes out and they have their little stare down. So we're getting Stephanie Vaquer and Tiffany Stratton, as I felt they should have done personally at Crown Jewel, but yeah, that wasn't take out that botch. That match was not those women's best performances, if I'm being 100% honest with you all. But it's gonna do it. Yeah, that's my review of SmackDown. Like I said, I did, I was a little harsh on 2 things. Like I said, stuff with Solo and the main event. But other than that, SmackDown still has some good stuff. And again, like I said, the best part of the show by far was definitely Sami Zayn and Javon Evans. I thought was excellent. And everything else was fine. So I gave the show a B-. SmackDown gets a B- for me this week. What are you guys' thoughts on SmackDown first week? You guys' thoughts again down in the comments section below. Slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well, The Club of the Man 93. You may also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at The Club of the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. Have a great rest of your night and a great Monday to start your week. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah.